Welcome back to the Joy Refresh series. So, today we're going to be working on a fall bucket list of sorts, but I really want to focus on bringing those things into action, into our everyday life. Next week, we're also going to be talking about fall bucket list items, but those are going to be more for events. They're going to take us outside of the house, they're going to require some planning. Today, I want to focus on some simple activities that we can add to the fall and winter so that we're not dreading the fall and winter. I don't know if you're like me, but when the days start to shorten and I know I'm facing a whole season of dark evenings when I've been able to be outside, it can get a little depressing, maybe. It doesn't sound as fun. I've enjoyed the summer. I like being outside. I love all of the extra daylight. I'm in my greenhouse today just because it has the best light. It's kind of a rainy day, and inside my house is a little bit gloomy. So that's what I'm trying to combat with this Joy Refresh series. I want to intentionally bring things into my life and give you ideas for things you can add to your life so that we can enjoy the fall and winter season. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So stick with me. So I've got four categories of everyday things, activities that we can add to our lives for the fall and winter season. And my first activity is crafts. Um, the thing that I like about crafts is it just is very hands-on, it's very tactile. It's a nice break from all the digital. I don't know about you, but I work online. I have an online course that I'm taking. I'm meeting people online. I do way too much scrolling on my phone as it is. I am looking to add something tactile and physical back in. So I like crafts for that. Now, one that I want to pick back up is knitting. I'm not a great knitter, although I have done some knitting over the years, but nothing complicated. So I'm looking for probably a simple scarf pattern that I can do, something very simple, but something that I can get a colorful yarn. I can have the needles out. I can have that tactile experience. A few years ago, I started a sweater project, and I was way over my head with this project. I, I made a mistake. I didn't know how to fix it. It was just too complicated. The yarn was beautiful. I still enjoyed it. I still call it a win because I did enjoy trying to make that. But this time I'd like to step back, do a simpler project for myself, one that I can enjoy, one that won't be frustrating. And I think that will add something to my evenings, especially. Now, another craft that I think I want to try this winter is cross stitch, just a very simple cross stitch pattern. It's been a really, really long time, like decades, since I've done any cross stitch. So I am not great at that by any stretch of the imagination. But I think another needlecraft like that would be a fun one to add back in. And I know that there are lots of little kits that I could get that would kind of scratch that cross stitch itch, give that crafting experience back into my evenings. A few years ago, I worked on a glue book. Now, you may not be familiar with what a glue book is or a junk journal. I just used an old magazine that I kind of cut and folded the pages and trimmed down so I had kind of a small book that I was working with. And then I had all kinds of scraps of paper, things I had cut out of magazines, and I just collaged those. And there was something so satisfying about using that glue stick and just putting those things in that little junk journal. There was no pressure to it, but it felt like this was actually at a time in my life when lots of things were falling apart. It was a really difficult time in the life of our family and for me personally. And there was something really nice about gluing those things together, making a collage. And it felt like at the time that was kind of the only brain space I had for a creative project. But it kind of felt like putting pieces back together in new ways. Um, it was kind of a nice metaphor in hindsight. It wasn't something I was thinking about while I was doing it, but I highly recommend some type of collage, some type of glue book if you like that kind of thing. I would really like to know what craft activities that you enjoy doing. Leave a comment below and let me know if you have ideas for things that you want to try this winter and fall. Okay, my next category of activities to include is reading and books. So, this is something that I do year round. You may also do it year round. But one thing I've never done is be very intentional about the books I'm choosing and matching those with the season. And I want to really do that this year. So, there are all kinds of lists out there online of books that will be good to read in the fall and the winter. I just want to hit up some of those. I want to buy a few books, maybe used books, but have them on my shelf and ready to go. Maybe make a note of which book I wanted to read in which month. And yeah, just kind of lean into the season in my fiction reading. So let me know if this is something you've done, or if you have a book come to mind that would be great for reading in the fall and the winter. Leave a comment below. I'm always looking for new book ideas. The next category that I want to add into my life is movement. So I've been trying to walk more, take more walks, and I want to continue that. But I know that winter is coming, fall is coming, and these rainy days, it's not always great walking weather here in Kentucky. So I want to be intentional about adding other kinds of movement to kind of replace that walking time. So one idea is yoga. There are so many videos online. I really like yoga with Adriene. I like to be able to choose a video that kind of matches the amount of time that I have. I can choose something longer or shorter depending on what's going on and how I'm feeling that day. So that's an idea. Another idea that I haven't tried, but my sister has, is a rebounder. And those are those small trampolines that you can get. I've heard that one, it's great for your health. It's a really good activity. It's super simple to do. And also that it's a lot of fun. So I think that might be an interesting way to add something new into the fall and winter season that's not dependent on the weather. I can go in there and bounce a little bit at any point during the day. It wouldn't take a lot of time if I don't want it to, but that might be a nice alternative to walking. So if you have ideas for movement, I'd love to know what they are. The last category I have here is puzzles and games. Fall and winter are just natural times to choose some puzzles and games for, especially for evenings during the wintertime. Jigsaw puzzles with a pretty scene that's seasonal can be fun. Now, I will say my husband likes doing puzzles, but he's obsessive about it, and it kind of drives him crazy. So I think we might do better. I like to work them. I like it. I find it's just kind of a natural way to kind of interact um, during the evening. It's something to do with our hands, something that we're looking at and working on together. But I think a simpler puzzle might be the way to go, at least for some of them, instead of getting a complicated puzzle that's going to take a lot of days, something that we can feel a bigger win with, and maybe won't suck him in quite so much. He is obsessive about the puzzles. He can't help himself. So puzzles and games is one. Another one we like is bananagrams, which is kind of like a simple Scrabble. That's a fun one to play. You might try chess or checkers. I have no idea how to play chess, but if you do, that's a really good one to play. Solitaire. If you like solitaire and you find that you've been playing it digitally, maybe try playing it with cards again, with actual cards. That might kind of be an interesting way to add that tactile, that activity, and kind of take a break from the scrolling. Like I said, I don't know about you, but I can spend way too much time with scrolling, and I really want to bring myself back into the physical world with these ideas. But if you have a puzzle or a game that you like to do, leave a comment below so that we can know what that is and have more ideas to choose from. Now, a bonus category is cooking and baking. So you may like to be in the kitchen. Not everybody does. But if you like to bake, of course, there's so many seasonal things that you can bake. We can add seasonal foods in. So if that's your realm, again, there's lots to choose from. maybe make yourself a schedule or think about specific items that you want to make. So, those are the ideas that I have for adding some activities into our everyday life. Now, like I said, next week we're going to talk about things that will take us out of the house, things that might require a little bit more planning. But I specifically for me, like I said, I kind of dread, especially the winter evenings. They can be dark, they can feel kind of long. That time from dinner to bedtime, even though I go to bed pretty early, can feel like a long time. So I want to be really intentional with that and add in some good activities. So hopefully these give us both some good ideas to choose from. That as we get towards those longer evenings, those shorter daylight hours, we can have some fun and joyful things and activities to do. Join me next week for the last video in the Joy Refresh series. And thank you so much for watching today. I will see you next week.